All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is June 1st, 2026. My name is Coach Kerrigan. I'm a lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. It's a day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. Not to say that the other guys don't do day trading, they do. Just probably not as much as I do. I kind of concentrated on the indexes. Anyways, let's move this out of the way. Let's take a look at the market today. Probably wondering how I did that. All right, we'll take a look at that as well. Well, we'll get right into that right away. Okay, so here is the trade plan this morning. Okay, trade an uptrend over 759.30 to the pre-market call wall, which was 760. Trade a 10-minute downtrend underneath 757.70 to the max pain, which was supposed to be 754, and then the put wall 750. That was pre-market. All right, so let's take a look at the market this morning. Let me just say, early in the morning this morning, we had a trade, and I want to share that trade with you so you can see what happened. All right, so this was 7 in the morning, actually almost 8, okay, in the morning right here. And I put up a trade that was looking like this. Okay, this is what it looked like. Okay, and I saw on the 5-minute chart, I see a bearish engulfing. So I said I'm going to be shorting SPY shares and MES futures below 758.40, and my stop is going to be 30 cents over that pre-market high. Okay, so if you want to see how that worked out, all right, because it did work out. And this is what it looks like when it was all done. Okay, so my entry was 758.40. My stop was 30 cents over the high, which happened to be 759.60. I had targets. First target was gap fill. All right, that would have been 756.41 right here. This is all happening in the pre-market before the market was open. Remember, I'm trading SPY shares and MES futures, okay? Second target's going to be the post-market low, which happens to be Friday's after-market activity, which was right down here, 755.28. And then it was max pain. Max pain, like I said, was 754. We didn't quite get to 754, but most times they don't need to get the number. They just need to get the area to cause enough fear for people to cover or for people to sell. Okay, so you can see they got down to, about 754.69 area. So pretty darn close. Okay, so that was my target. I put this up in the room, in the pre-market. All right, so if you were looking for it, it's up here. I've got it up here in the alerts. And I kind of identified it right there. And I said, hey, look, if we get below this area right here, 7.58, that's going to be red erases green right there. Okay, so we got below that, and you can see pulled back. They couldn't get on top of 758.40. That was nice. And then you saw the big flush. All right, with this huge, nice size candle to the downside with a little follow through right there. And then close that out right there. And then I said, and this was in the pre-market, I was asking if the traders got some. Some of them got some of them didn't, but there it is right there. And then we see a price start to meander over to the right in a bear flag. So I'm kind of still short, all right, because we're underneath VWAP. And now I see right in here some higher lows start to develop. At that point, I'm getting long, okay? I also see the 3 EMA cross over the 8 EMA, and I can see these higher lows start to develop. So I'm getting long, and we rode this, well, I did, to the upside, up here to the, basically, this would be the rubber band candle right here, and that would be the one to break it, all right? So I took it all the way up there to the top of that. All right, and just traded it up to there. From there, we pulled back to VWAP. All right, and I see that VWAP held right here. Notice price holds. Let's see if I can move it over. Yep, price holds right here, and I'm noticing price holding, making a higher low. So I'm back in it again, and I ride it up to that top. And we pull back to the ADMA, and I'm seeing another higher low, and I'm long again, all right, all the way up to the entry right here, 758.40. Okay, buy the dip again, and now I'm looking for this target right here. This is the pre-market high, which was my target earlier, okay? So I'm looking for that pre-market high, and we get all the way up there, and they moved the call wall out from 758 all the way up to 760, as you can see. So that would be 760 plus or minus 50 cents, because that's the strike that it's in. And you can see we got up there pretty darn close to 760.50, not quite, but we did get a good piece of that all the way riding it up. So that was nice, riding this down. Looking for another wave down, like a rollover, but after I started picking up on the higher lows, I'm like, I'm back in this, and it ripped over this, pulled back to VWAP, okay, kind of held right there, and then ripped up higher right there. So rode it down and rode it right back up. All right, so that's my trade today. So that was a nice day for me. Some of the other traders as well. All right, so I said pretty much I'm buying calls. I think I said I'm buying calls. Pretty sure I said I'm buying calls. I bought the puts right there, and that was right at 942. And where was price at 942? Let's take a look. Well, we don't have it on this one, but 942 right here. So I'm long puts right here. It's like 942 right about there. I'm on a 5-minute chart. All right, and I was able to capture some into that dip and into this dip, but after a while I start seeing these higher lows, and price is starting to melt up, and I see the 3 cross over the 8, and I said, you know what? I think we're going to pop, and we did higher, pulled back, and we didn't get back underneath VWAP after we couldn't break the rubber band candle right here on the 5-minute, and I was expecting us to get back under VWAP, but I noticed the bullish engulfing, and then I said, you know what? We're going to go back up higher again. So I got back into it, and then we pulled back to the 17 EMA right here, and I reloaded and, rode it up again, then reloaded and rode it up again one more time. So that was the price action. So there's the meat and potatoes of today's performance. It was right there. I kind of walked everybody through it as we were going through it. Other than the calls right here, I don't think I walked everybody through those, but I did see the higher lows picking up, and I saw the 3 crossing over. So then I saw this, and I noticed like, hey, we're coming up here to this pre-market high. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way. So I had a nice day today. All right, let's move out, and let's take a look. 10-minute chart, okay? 10-minute into the close. This is kind of consolidation on top of prior consolidation. Okay, so here's some consolidation right here. So I'm just going to tighten this up just a little bit so you can see it. So this would be Friday's consolidation. Now I'm going to drag it all the way over. All right, so there's Friday's consolidation. It's over here, but I'm bringing the box over here so you can see that even though this is in a downtrend right there, you've got consolidation over prior consolidation, okay? Because you don't really have an uptrend. Notice that the 8 is now flat or it's rolling over. So that's bullish. So for me, even though that's a 10-minute downtrend, and you've definitely got, daylight between the 3 and the 8, and the 3 is riding underneath the 8 there. So it's a 10-minute downtrend, but it's only like 2 candles for a trend. Hardly makes up a trend, but it does. Anyway, so I call that bullish consolidation, simply because we're consolidating on top of prior price action for today and Friday's price action right here. So bullish consolidation in my eyes, from what I'm observing, all right, on the 10-minute chart, little 2 candle downtrend, all right? That's what we're going to call it. Little 2 candle downtrend, but bullish consolidation up there over prior consolidation here in the morning and on Friday. All right, let's take a look at the 2-hour chart, and I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way so we can see it a little more clearly. Can't see the moving averages with all this on there. So let's move this out. Let's move this out. We might not be able to see it. Yeah, it's kind of difficult. Let's take off the pre-market. Chart properties. All right, so it's a little bit better. All right, and you can see the yellow line is up here. All right, there's the sticks and the 3 riding up on top of the ADMA, which happens to be this white line. If you follow my cursor, that's where it rides right there. So got a 2-hour uptrend. Now, if I take VWAP, you'll be able to see the daylight between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA right there. Now you can see the daylight because I took the VWAP off. Okay, so you've got candlesticks riding up on top of the 8. You can see it clearer now because VWAP's not on there. And then you can see the daylight between the 3 and the 8. So 2-hour uptrend into the close. A lot of bullish consolidation right there. Not really rising high and fast, but just kind of melting up. Just a little melt up, all right? So remember, Friday's high was, what was Friday's high? Let's take a look. Put the crosshairs on it. Okay, so Friday's high was right there. Okay, so that's 758.39. Let's look at today's high. Okay, so let's just take it. Today's high, 760.28. Okay, see how it just kind of, price just keeps creeping up higher and higher. Now, if this gets going and we start making bigger candles each day, look out, because we could get a climactic, blow the top off kind of performance out of the SPY price action. All right, so let's watch this for candles on the daily chart growing in size. All right, so far not seeing a lot of it, not really. See, you got like triple doji here, got a good sized candle there. It's average, nothing special. Another doji here, kind of showing us a little bit of signs of exhaustion. And you know what? I don't blame them. I mean, they've been doing this now for 2 months straight, and they have not rested at all. At all. And the first pullback to minor supports all the way down here, 700. I don't know what's in store. If they're just going to keep melting it up. We got one more big boy to give us the earnings, and that is AVGO. That comes out Wednesday. Maybe after AVGO reports, they're going to blow off the top, or they're going to have the pullback. It's going to be one of the two. That's what I feel. All right, so we'll see what happens. Okay, but there's SPY on the daily chart, new all-time high, and of course, you can see here's the origin of the move back here in the end of March. All right, and here we are in the 1st of June. All right, making a new all-time high. So obviously that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, you got weekly charts going to be bullish in an uptrend, and monthly chart if the daily's making new all-time highs. So it's pretty easy to say right there. The website, I will share that. Yeah, let me get that for Robert. Robert wants to know, in case you guys want to know which one it is. I have 2 of them, Robert. I'm going to give you both of them. Right here. Okay, copy. I'm looking for copy link. It's not going to do it for me. Hold on. Give me just a second. There's one, but it doesn't say copy link. I'm just going to hit copy. See what that says. See if it gives it to you. Okay, there it is. There's one of them. All right, I'll send that off to you. And then here's the other one. This is the one that I like. Copy. And right here. Okay, those are the two that I use. I think you get a free trial on each one of them. I don't know if it's a week or 2 weeks. Oh yeah, absolutely, anytime. I don't know if it's a week or 2 weeks, but it's nice to get started. All right, is that free trial for a week, and I think each one will give you, I think, at least a week, and it's a nice way to get started right there. So take advantage of that, and then sign up afterwards. You know the deal. You never pay full price. You know what I'm saying? All right, so there's SPY on the daily chart, bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, let's go look at QQQ. And look at QQQ. All right, let's go drill down, see what happened in the 10-minute chart. You can see 10-minute chart for QQQ got a three candle downtrend, just like kind of like SPY got a 2-candle downtrend. You can see it's up over prior consolidation or price action. So this is Friday's price action, and we drag this over, and you can see this. All of this is up over that. All right, so that's, even though it's pulling back right now, that's kind of like, I call it bullish consolidation with a 2-candle downtrend right now. That's what we're currently showing. Okay, so that's bullish up there, even though it's in a downtrend. Okay, it's still bullish because it's up over this prior price action we had from Friday. So bullish consolidation with a 2-candle downtrend currently. That's on the 10-minute. Let's take a look at the 2-hour. Okay, 2-hour. You can see the sticks in the 3 riding up on top of the 8. Okay, the 8's riding up on top of the 17. You got daylight between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA. Okay, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, on 2-hour chart. So notice the bigger time frame is bullish. Even the smaller time frame is bullish. It's just going through a pullback right now. Okay, let's take a look at the daily chart. You got a new all-time high, so that's going to be bullish and in an uptrend. All right, and if it's making a new all-time high on the daily, then it's obviously making a new all-time high on the weekly and the monthly as well. So all the bigger time frames bullish and in an uptrend for QQQ. All right, let's take a look at, this is the origin back here, the end of March, all the way up. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM, not shining as shiny as it was yesterday or the day earlier last week. Got a lower high and a lower low. We closed inside of a bullish trap over the rising 17. I'm going to call it the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, have not made a lower low, and still in an uptrend on the daily chart for IWMs. Take a look at Diamond Dow. Now, Diamond Dow made a new all-time high. Okay, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. It's hard not to be bullish in an uptrend when you're making new all-time highs. Okay, so there's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at FNGU. New all-time high for FNGU. We could take one of these out of here. Okay, so there's new all-time high for FNGU. I'm going to pull this all the way over so you can get the full picture. All right, that was the prior all-time high. This is kind of like a blow off the top right there. Little bit. All right, we'll see how far they want to take it. That might be the last day. I don't know. That's a pretty strong move right there. It's funny, I don't see Meta in an uptrend, but the FNGU's making these highs. But hey, whatever it is, right? So FNGU bullish and in an uptrend, making new all-time highs today. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. Oh, let me back up one more time. Okay, so that's the all-time low. That's the all-time high. Okay, that right there is the higher low And this is where you see the bulls recover 51% of the pullback. And guess who gets inspired to make a new all-time high? Yeah, you gotcha. All right, FNGU right there, new all-time high. Once the bulls get that 50, all right, they've got control of everything. Look at this beautiful head and shoulders right here. That is a beautiful head and shoulder setup right there. You can see right shoulder, left shoulder, head right up top there. Okay, notice we decapitated the head, so we removed that from, notice the neckline did not hold, so price went up over it. So FNGU bullish and in an uptrend. Go to look at silver and gold. Okay, silver and gold doing a lot of consolidation. Much more, well, they really had a nice run. Okay, so they might be doing this for another couple weeks. Anyways, okay, got the spinning top. We got a lower high, lower low. We closed under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're in the bottom of quadrant 3. I'm going to pan out. You can see all of this right here. So that's our origin of our move back here in 2022. That's the all-time high. And, of course, that pink line is the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the upper one is the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so we're in the bottom of quadrant 3, all right? So we're neutral because we're not in the upper third and we're not in the lower third. And we have not made lower lows, so we're still in. Let me check one more time. Okay, what's that low? That low is 66.15. What's that low? 66.11. Still in an uptrend, all right? So they have not made a lower low yet. So they're still in an uptrend on SLV. It's a dysfunctional uptrend in that after taking out this high and making a higher high, they kind of stopped moving up and they kind of melted off and moved over to the right. So call it a dysfunctional uptrend in that it's not continuing to rise. It's kind of melted off, going in the wrong direction for an uptrend anyways. But still in an uptrend because they have not made lower lows, all right? So that's silver. Let's take a look at gold. Gold's got a lower high and a lower low from the previous candle. That would be Friday's candle. We closed under a bearish trap. We closed under the 17. We closed at the top of quadrant 3. That makes it still in the upper third up there. So it's still bullish, but it's in a downtrend, a little bit different than silver. Silver's still in an uptrend, but not moving up. Gold is in a downtrend and moving down, okay, because you've got a low, couple of lows right here, and they made a lower low, so they are bullish, but still in a downtrend right there, caught underneath that all-time high anchored VWAP. Let's take a look at, petroleum and gas, USO, and then natural gas. All right, so we got a higher low, a higher high. We closed inside of a bearish trap. We closed under the 17. We closed at the bottom of quadrant 4. That is bullish, but since we made a lower low right here, got a low that protrudes through the 17. Okay, we got a lower low here. We're now in a downtrend thanks to Friday's candle. Okay, so we're bullish, all right, but we're in a downtrend. Nice thing is they turned it around already. Okay, notice the huge move up to the upside. So bullish and in a downtrend for USO. UNG is, that was Friday's candle. Lower high, lower low. Closing in a bullish trap over the rising 17. Okay, and I'm going to pan way out so you can see all of this. And I'm going to push it up. All right, so this is March of 2025. Okay, so that's like, that's 12 months plus another 3 or 2. That's like a 14-month high anchored VWAP. Okay, right there. All right, so price action is under that 14-month high anchored VWAP. This happens to be the all-time low right there. this number right there. That's the all-time low. And you can see we came dangerously close to making a new all-time low, but somehow the bulls held it off, all right? And price action for today is a lower high and a lower low. We closed in the bullish trap over the rising 17. We're in the middle of quadrant 1. Okay, this is quadrant 4 up there. We're in the middle of quadrant 1. And we're in an uptrend still because we have not made lower lows. So bearish because we're in the lower third. All right, but in an uptrend right there. That's UNG. All right, let's take a look at technicals, T2101. Okay, so the market made some new all-time highs, but look what happened. All right, see, I'm getting these bearish signs, which makes me want to buy puts. So I bought some puts, but I put it in a put spread, most of it, not all of it, because I'm not liking what I'm seeing. All right, so market makes new highs, but the market, absolute breadth of the market is dipping lower. That's a bearish clue. All right, same with Friday's price action. Notice we're dipping a little lower. All right, so that's T2101. That absolute breadth, that's kind of like measuring the participation of the market right there. Okay, T2101. T2122, that was a bearish clue, all right, on T2101. T2122, notice it is June 1st, and we spent most of the day under the gold line, giving bears most of the control according to the market as a whole, okay? So if you didn't weight everything like we did with the SPY and the QQQ, all right, you'd get something like a candle that looks like the IWM, and what happens is you can see markets still kind of giving it to the bears. The bears seem to have control, more control than the bulls. We did not get up into the bullish territory at all. So another bearish clue. I do like that they didn't make a significant lower low, but they sure didn't make a significant higher high either. All right, so here we are riding out the day in the seller's chop zone. And, one good note, we're not in the sell zone. We're not in the oversold zone. But then again, we're not in the buyer's chop zone or the buy zone either. So it is what it is in the seller's chop zone. Another bearish clue. If this is a move down and then it's a move over, that's a bear flag. So for me, that comes across as a yet again another bearish clue to go with T2101, which the participation dipping on market highs. That's another bearish clue. So we got two there. T2123. All right, now we can see this would be Friday's lows right here, and we made lower lows right there. So, and then you can see the highs of T2123. All right, this is measuring the NYSE. Okay, this is with nothing weighted. All right, this is like everybody's on even ground. All right, they all start at the same spot. Nobody gets more points than the other, okay? There's no curve on this. So you see it's a little bit different. So you can see when you don't have that that market cap behind you, where you get like, 25 or, excuse me, not 25, like 9% of the SPY just for one position. In, I don't know, Amazon or Tesla, something like that, is like 9 or 8% sometimes. That's weighted, all right? This is not weighted. So you can see T2123, 15-minute chart. We got lows. We made a lower low, so that makes us in a downtrend. You got some highs. We made lower highs, so lower highs, lower lows equates to downtrend right there coming into the close. Not to say that they can't recover it. What I didn't like was this. We had a bullish gap, and we were holding that gap open. And guess what happened? We filled it today, okay? So got another bullish gap, okay? Hopefully the bulls can hold this one open. We'll see. We're up over the hooking 200 SMA, so that's bullish. That's where you want to be if you're a bull, above that 200 SMA. So that is, let me pan way out. Okay, the origin of the move back here, remember March, all right, all the way up to a new all-time high up there. So we're still in quadrant 4, so we're bullish, but on the 15-minute chart, we're in a downtrend because we made lower lows, all right? So that's T2123. Now we're going to look at the same product, but on a bigger time frame, okay? So again, here's the March, the origin of that rally. We can take one of these off. Don't need them both. Okay, so here's origin of that move, T2123, 3-bar chart. And you can see we rise up, pull back, okay? So notice the lows did not take out these lows, okay? So they're still in an uptrend. They have not made lower lows. We haven't made higher highs since making the all-time high, but we're still up here in the middle of quadrant 4, so that's bullish. We're up over the rising 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bull, all right? And we're still in an uptrend because we haven't made any lower lows, so that's bullish and in an uptrend on the bigger time frame, okay? Remember, on the smaller one, we're in a downtrend, but on the bigger one, we're in an uptrend, okay, right there. So until we take out these lows. All right, so FNGU had a monster day today. Look at that thing. Bullish gap up. Look at the planking going on. Just a 6.5 hour plank up there. Beautiful. Over VWAP. Held that bullish gap open all day long. And we got another gap from the day before. That would be Friday. They held that gap open all day long. There's a high. They're making higher highs, so that's bullish. That's an uptrend, okay? And, of course, you can see we're up over the rising 200 SMA. That's going to be bullish. Again, that's where you want to be if you're a bull. FNGU up over that rising 200. Now, if I pan way all the way out, okay, going to right here, this is March, the end of March. Remember, that's the origin of our move. I'm going to slap the quad lines on there. All right, you can see we're at the very top of quadrant 4. Okay, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, I'm going to take this off now. Don't need it anymore. Okay, you can see bullish and in an uptrend, FNGU. All right, let's take a look at US dollar. Okay, so we got a daily, this is a daily chart. This is a daily downtrend. This is a 6-month downtrend, all right, which tapers off into a 10-month bear flag, all right? And in this 10-month bear flag, we broke major support. That's all these valleys of all of this consolidation right here from 2023 almost up to 2025. All of this. We broke all of those lows. And we've tried 6 or 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to break back into this consolidation zone. Okay, got a little tongue tied there. All right, so tried to break back into it, couldn't do it. All right, so far. Currently, we're in the bear flag and we're in a daily uptrend once again. This is not the first time. Okay, you can see there's a daily uptrend there, and you can see we had a daily uptrend there. All right, but then we made a lower low, okay? And now we're commenced another daily uptrend because there's a high, and we've made a higher high, and you can see price moved up, and it's in a bull flag up there. So we have another uptrend inside of our bear flag. Will they make it into that consolidation zone? Only time will tell, all right? Right now, 10 months, and they're still in the bear flag. Okay, so that's US dollar index. And that's about it. I'll take questions in the room if anyone's got some questions. If not, I hope you made some money today. If you did, please share it. Love to hear it. If there's anything I can do better, let me know. I do free coaching, by the way. Own, C, NVIDIA, and FPS. Okay, so let's take a look. Going to the daily chart. Going to turn VWAP back on just a little bit here. See if it's, nope, that's not working. Oh, it's not working because I'm not on, because I'm on a daily chart. All right, let's take a look. NVDA. Wow, what a nice recovery candle there. That's bullish. Oh, wait. Okay, nice candle there. Higher low. All right, you're up over that candle right there. That's beautiful. What do we got over to the left? Nothing. I like it. Bullish and in an uptrend, really. Let's take the March, put the quad lines on there. Okay, you can see they got down to the lower third. See how they reversed right at the bottom of the upper third. You see that, Robert? They said, "Nah, we're not a neutral stock. We're a bullish stock." See that? And they reversed and they went back up there. So that's bullish and in an uptrend. They haven't made any lower lows. That's looking good. Nice candle. I want to see some follow through for that one. So let's look at this tomorrow and let's look for some follow through on that big green candle. We might see it. AVGO is going to report soon. Okay, that's bullish and in an uptrend. And you want to look at Citigroup. Okay, let's take it from the March low. Put some quad lines on there. Okay, now they came back to the 50. A little bit deeper than NVIDIA. But then these guys aren't the tip of the spear, are they? You know, NVIDIA, that's the tip of the spear. We are in an AI rally or a tech rally. So this rally is going to live and die on tech, okay? It's not. I don't think it's going to transition into something else. Okay, when tech's done, this rally's done. That's what I believe. We'll see. I could be wrong. Nice rip right here, right off of the upper third. Okay, back into quadrant 4. They got a low right here, and then they made a lower low. So they're still in a downtrend. Well, I'm going to call it a weak uptrend because there's a low and then they ripped up here and made a high. Okay, so we'll call it a weak uptrend. Again, same thing as NVIDIA. I want to see some follow through on that big candle. See how this one gave us a little follow through? It was a red candle, but it gave us the follow through right there. Okay, it gave us that higher high and that higher low. Well, I want to see the same thing happen here. I want to see them hold up over this 127.50 area. Okay, they broke into it. They got their head up there out of the turret, and they're looking around, and they're seeing, can we get out of the tank yet or not? Okay, so it's looking good. Got to see some follow through or something that shows me they're going to hold this area up here over 127.50. That's what I like for C. Okay, they're in an uptrend, but it's just a one candle uptrend so far. Okay, so it's previously they were in a downtrend until today's candle that put them in an uptrend right there because there's a high and they made a higher high finally. All right. So there's C. That's bullish and in an uptrend right now. Okay, and they could lose it. So it's theirs to lose too. But they're looking good. They're looking good. Okay, they just got to hold that area. The upper third. Hold that upper third. Preferably hold over 127.50. Okay, let's take a look at FPS. Well, that looks like new all-time highs. Yeah, that's okay. So that's bullish and in an uptrend. Look at this. Could take this back to March. Beautiful rip from 27 up to 57 up here. Beautiful rip. Love it. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have anything over to the left for me to say that's the target or it's not the target. OSCR. All right. Oh, we got a lot of price action over to the left. Okay, you're up in here. You got to chill. You got obviously sellers here, sellers here, sellers here, sellers here, and sellers here. This one was a straight ride up. Not to say I got to see them get on top of all of this and hold that higher ground. So right up there over 22. They got to get on top of 22, whatever that number is, 22.38, and hold this area up here. Okay, they're looking good. They're like C. They put their head up, or FPS, the one when it looked around the turret, you know, outside. They're peeking up there, seeing what's going on. But they're looking good. That's bullish and in an uptrend. All right now, that's bullish and an uptrend. But we need to see it hold over these peaks. Okay, all of this is like major resistance. Okay, if you were coming up from it underneath, the first valleys that you reach, those would be the minor resistance. Well, the peaks on the other side of those valleys, that's going to be the major resistance, and you're breaking through it right now. Okay, so you got to see them hold up top there. All right, traders, that's it for me. All right, guys. Thanks, Robert. All right, we'll do some more tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.